So I'm going to talk to you about 4 basic fluid mediums for acrylic. So when you first started getting into mediums, this is a good place to start, either with a gloss medium or a matte medium. And I'm going to show you the difference between the two with these 2 discs. Now, actually, let's just pour some out so you can see them, because I know when you see a lot of these things in the store, the bottles, everything kind of looks the same, like some whitish liquid in a bottle. What's that for? You know? And but let's squirt some out so you can kind of see. Now, this is, if I let these puddles, these 2 puddles dry on this gray palette, like so, they would dry like this. And actually, you can peel these things off. This is another little fun side note, is that you can actually peel up acrylics if you have a thick enough film. So this one will dry with a little bit of cloudiness to it, and this one dries clear. Okay, so we have gloss medium here and matte medium over here.
Why would I use the liquid instead of the thick one in the jar?
It's sort of personal taste. So when we looked at the heavy body and the soft body, and we saw how one holds a brush stroke, these make the paint more fluid and brushable and kind of smooth. So a lot of time people want to have the heavy body paint. And let's look at some heavy body paint. So I have some heavy body. This is a quinacridone red. And
how long does it take to dry?
These? Oh, just like if in these puddles, how long would they take to dry?
Mm-hmm.
They would take overnight to really be able to, before you could peel them up. So you probably need at least 12 hours or something. Now, this paint, it's thick and it's creamy, and acrylics have a little bit of a shine to them when they dry, as you may have noticed. So if you want to take the shine out, you add matte medium to it, and they'll get more of a matte, more of a velvety finish. So I'm going to mix some matte medium in. The big question I get is, how much? You know, the cool thing about acrylics is there's no rules. You can add as much or as little as you want. Now, who was watching? How much did I add in? Did you get a sense? I wasn't.
Like one row of the palette knife.
It was, okay. Was it, would you say a 50-50 ratio or less, maybe 20%? Okay, I think that's a good starting point, because if you add a lot, you're going to change the color. So if you're, now as you become more advanced, you may want to do that for some reason. Maybe you're making sort of a veil, like a hazy veil of the red. I don't know. That's up to you what you want to do with your painting. But as a starting point, just to kind of mattify it and make it a little more spreadable. So let's try showing with a brush what happens when I brush this color out. Okay? I'm not sure if this will show up on camera. This is pretty subtle. Versus this. Can you see the difference in the thickness? See how thick that is and how more smooth and flat that is? I wonder if I put it up on the canvas, if it'll be a little more obvious on the white canvas. So here's the color as it came straight out of the tube with no medium added. And here's the color with the matte medium added. So can you see it's a little bit smoother, a little bit flatter? So if you wanted a smoother, flatter area, these would be the type of medium to add, okay? So I'll label that for you. Matte medium.
If you put it on with a palette knife, any ridges, would they flatten out on their own if the surface is flat?
Yeah, you could, you mean apply it with a palette knife?
Would it slowly flatten out so you'd have less texture?
You could apply it with a palette knife to have less texture. So that's the same mixture applied with a palette knife. Is that what you were asking about?
Right.
Yeah, okay, good question. So, and this color that I used is called quinacridone red. You can see it's a transparent color, can you tell? You see things glowing from behind there? Okay, so here's the color without any matte medium. Okay, so let's try adding gloss medium to the same color. And I'll do the same amount, which was probably about 20% we decided. All right, so just about that much, yeah. So you see the paint, as I'm mixing, it's getting looser. Tip on mixing. This is something I notice all the time. Beginners, when they mix with a palette knife, they go like this. They're not really mixing. You have to really, the whole thing of the palette knife is it gives you a good, even mixing. If you see how much I scrape it all the way to the bottom of the palette. And I mix for a little while, so there's no streaks, so it's fully incorporated. So invest in a palette knife for sure. It's a really important mixing tool.
When you add these mediums to the acrylic paint, does it change the drying time?
Not these, no. There are some where you can change the drying time, but these two that I'm showing you right now. So we're gonna spread some with a knife. Oops, should have been over there. Oh well. Take some right off the back of that knife and spread it with a brush. I have a bit more than I had over here, so let's spread it out even thinner so we get a little thinner. And one of the nice things about the gloss medium is that because it dries clear, like this, it gives, you'll see more of the glow of a transparent color. So you can use it to your advantage for layering and glazing. So if I add even more, now let's label this one. So this is gloss medium. All of these. All right. Now, let's add more gloss medium, and we'll make a really transparent kind of a glaze layer. So I just had a very small ratio of color on a knife.
If you under paint with the gloss medium, can you paint over it with something with matte medium mixed into it?
With which medium?
Matte medium, if you want your
Yes.
final product to not be shiny.
Yes.
But you want that glow to
Yes.
be thicker underneath. That's how you would do it?
Yeah, in fact, what I do, so if you want the final product, I wouldn't even worry about it in any layers of the painting. I would do it at the very end in a varnish, use a matte varnish. If you just put a matte varnish, even if it's really shiny, it's like a miracle. It can just take the shine right out.
Oh, so you let it dry the whole painting and then
Yes.
it's like a last coat.
Last coat, yeah.
All by itself.
Should be shiny.
Can you tint it?
The varnish?
varnish?
Yeah, you sure could. Yeah, but I would probably do that in the earlier layers of the painting and just have the varnish be clear.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna just do a really,
Oh, that's pretty.
and I'll show it over the letters just so you can see how very transparent it is. So why do you think we don't use matte medium when we're doing these transparent glaze layers? Any thoughts? I'll give you a hint.
It's cloudy.
Yeah. So if you build up a lot of layers of the matte medium, you'll get a more of a cloudy effect. Here's your gloss medium, totally clear. So I encourage people to use gloss medium for layering and glazing when they want the color to have this glowing, luminous, transparent type of effect. And so that's the difference between matte medium and gloss medium, two really basic, important acrylic mediums. And you don't have to have both. You know yourself. You probably know, well, I like matte, I don't like matte, I like to layer, I don't like to layer. So just ask yourself those questions. What effects you want? And a lot of people use both. So there's no right or wrong. And you can intermix the two, right? And we can make a satin medium if we want. So there's really, this is the cool, fun thing about acrylics is it's all for you to experiment and try new things. There's very few mistakes you can make with acrylics. You can just try. If an idea comes to you, try it out. So I'm going to talk to you about 4 basic fluid mediums for acrylic. So when you first started getting into mediums, this is a good place to start, either with a gloss medium or a matte medium. And I'm going to show you the difference between the two with these 2 discs. Now, actually, let's just pour some out so you can see them, because I know when you see a lot of these things in the store, the bottles, everything kind of looks the same, like some whitish liquid. in a bottle. What's that for? You know? And but let's squirt some out so you can kind of see. Now, this is, if I let these two puddles dry on this gray palette, like so, they would dry like this. And actually, you can peel these things up. This is another little fun side note, is that you can actually peel up acrylics if you have a thick enough film. So this one will dry with a little bit of cloudiness to it, and this one dries clear. Okay?